It's a somber day today, isn't it, Dracula? Good morning.
Good morning. Yeah, it's what do you I don't know. I don't even know what to say about it because it's like, we're making some progress and it just never fails that the macro just wants to punch us in the face.
You know how hard Dracula and I were working behind the scenes with the assistant. We had Danny on the show. We were pulling strings. We were networking, dude. We were slanging and banging, dude. We were pulling in people from all over. Hell, we were sending Brian Armstrong his own address, okay? We were texting Brian Armstrong his home address to get listed on Coinbase.
Yeah. I mean, dude, I was just in Iran last week trying to get him to buy our bags.
Right? And then Netanyahu just says, fuck the plan, dude. Fuck the plan. We gotta blow him up, man.
We had a very specific plan.
We had a sequence of events that needed to play out, and we had everyone on board, but Netanyahu, wild dog that he is, couldn't control himself. So now,
I mean, we had a plan. S was supposed to hit like 90 cents this week. It was fine. It was going to be. I don't know why no one can just stick to the plan.
And after all that work we put in to, run your stops, get Sonic to a proper entry. Now, what are we sitting at now? No, but all jokes aside, if you were in our Telegram, you would see I'm furious, dude. I'm completely furious. I thought I had perfectly timed the flip of the bottom, and then an act of God happens. And by God, I guess I mean Trump. I don't know who so I'm in pain. I'm sure you're in pain out there too, but don't worry, guys. We got some advice for you.
Yeah, I do wonder how many people had flipped long, like we had been looking at the chart, and you got to take this chart with whatever, because we're looking at possible war, which is never good for, the markets. But, I know a lot of people, I mean, myself included, I had, a few days ago had flipped long, thinking, okay, like historically, we keep hitting this area, boom, boom, boom. Every time you're able to bounce off it. It's, like I said, I had already ran it twice. I guess lucky for me, I had I kept moving my stop loss up. So could have captured a lot more, but I can't be too mad ultimately. I still got cashed out in profit. But yeah, I mean, it's hard when it's like, the market can only perform so much when, obviously we have this kind of macro stuff going on. So I hope nobody got wrecked too hard.
Yeah, I hope you guys are safe out there. I hope you're not going to get blown up if something happens. I shouldn't laugh. It's not funny, but it's like, it's madness. It's madness right now, dude. We all should just be trading and happy right now, dude. We should
I mean, because, obviously we've had a lot of good news the last couple of days, which we'll get to. I was going to say real fast, we got Dan here from Amp Finance, so we want to get to that. But as always, my comfort, I go to Bitcoin Weekly. We're still working on this support. We're still above it. We're still hanging in there. We're not dead yet. As Randy Marsh said, he didn't hear a bell. We're okay. I'm not going to say go as far as say we're okay, because we don't know what's about to happen in the next few days. But overall, I think that if some kind of resolution comes to this or something, maybe we can resume our moves. But yeah, that's what I would say right now is it's probably just not a bad time to if you don't have any positions, wait till we get some wait till some stuff gets resolved before you hop right back in the market.
Yeah, I'd play it a little bit safe right now. It's a little bit of wait and see, right? But our guest actually provided us a nice little cheat sheet. So should we share the cheat sheet and introduce?
Yeah. So I want to say thanks, Dan. This has kind of helped me figure out what I'm going to do here. So game
theory, basically what we're looking at here is game theory, and the optimal play is obvious. Okay.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I mean, all jokes aside, hopefully everybody is safe, doing all right. You know, we'll see what happens here.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Don't blow up your account, dude. Don't let them blow up your account, okay?
Oh yeah, yeah. That's good advice, and I'm sure that Dan would just love to talk about AMP Finance after all that. How you doing, man? And I'm sorry, I keep calling you Dan. I'm assuming your name is Dan, but
no, you're
Dan
spot on,
Cube.
Dracula.
Okay.
I'm Dan. Yeah, I go by Dan or Dan Cube. Dan Cube was the name that I landed with back in the Nintendo GameCube era. I was a big fan of the GameCube, so
Dude, a Nintendo GameCube handle. That's yeah. That's
Smash.
impressive.
Yeah. Well, thanks for having us on, guys. It's going to be great to share a little bit about the AMP platform, and yeah, I'm on good company as well. So yeah, I'll get straight into it. Essentially, AMP Finance is a GMX V1 fork. A lot of you out there are probably familiar with the GMX V1 model. It's a unified liquidity pool, and our pool is rich with whitelisted assets. So, you've got your wrapped Sonic, your wrapped ETH, staked Beat Sonic, Hey Anon, Shadow, USDC and SCUSD there. Anon was the first sort of token that we listed beyond sort of the core assets, because we've got a Hey Anon integration that is underway as well. So we're very, very close to having that live. I think it should be live within the next week or so. But yeah, we've got the perps exchange there for people to trade with leverage. But we see a lot of our volume come through swaps. That's where the majority of our volume comes, and that's because we're integrated with a lot of the aggregators that are out there, like Odos, Fly, OpenOcean, and that's where we're getting a lot of our revenue in for the liquidity providers on the platform as well. So yeah, while we've got a modest TVL, we're sort of punching above our weight when it comes to bringing in fees, which is always pleasing for our LPs.
Yeah, that was the first thing I wanted to comment on, was just like, I like this asset basket. Usually it's kind of just like, Ethereum, USDC, whatever the native gas token is. So yeah, it's cool to see, Hey Anon and Shadow and some other things in there. So yeah, I guess like when you were saying it's a GMX V1 fork, I guess it's the similar idea in terms of you supply assets, which basically is like kind of like similar to, you're providing liquidity, and then they get a share.
Exactly, yeah. So when you provide liquidity to the pool, you can deposit in any of those accepted assets, but your liquidity pool token is representative of what that basket of the pool is. So as price fluctuates for each of the different assets, hopefully before too long, everything's going up, your liquidity pool token will also rise in value. And we've got some things happening behind the scenes to help balance the asset weightings as well. Dynamic fees to lower the price of swapping out certain assets that are overweight within the pool. And I'm doing a little bit of management of it myself. So, capping the amount of stable coins that we take on when the market is sort of like, at the bottom of a range, for example. Trying to help our LPs sort of retain their value once they've deposited to the pool.
Yeah, I mean, looking at the stats, I mean, you're already at almost 750K in fees. I mean, that's a ton of fees generated. So that's, especially for the current TVL, that's like you said, that's probably the best way to describe it. You're definitely like punching above your weight here. I mean, that's a really good fee generation for LPs there.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, we were super excited as well to see the season 2 airdrop announcement and how that sort of rejigs things to reward those platforms that are, providing revenue and, performing a role within the wider Sonic ecosystem. So yeah, those gems and the benefit that we get there will be passed on to our LPs as well.
Very nice. Yeah, I mean, it was good timing to, have you on, because that's just, perps have kind of just been a large part of the discussion right now, in terms of like, what does Sonic need? What does, what is going to bring more volume and all that good stuff? And the answer is usually, if you don't have a lot of perp options, perps. So I'm excited to see that. And I believe we were talking before the show. I mean, you guys also haven't actually like launched your token yet, correct?
No, not yet. Yeah, we're pre-TGE, so we're planning for it in the near future. But yeah, the AMP token will function as a governance token for the platform, as well as earning a share of the revenue that comes in. So not only will LPs earn the fees that are brought in, but AMP stakers will also earn a share as well.
Yeah, I mean, and like what I like to see here is being able to go 10 or 11x on S is actually on most of the futures like available right now. Most things are not going above a 5x, so it's good to see you got 10x, actually up to 11x there.
Yeah, the 11x is a nod to the spinal tap. Turn
I was about to say, like, what does the 11 mean?
It was originally 10x, but I thought I'd just have a bit of fun with it and go with the whole amped philosophy of just cranking it up to 11.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, that's awesome. Going up to higher multipliers. It's exactly what I need. I'm over here languishing at 5x, dude.
Yeah, 10x minimum. I mean, that's you got to at least have that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, in the future, we'd love to be able to offer more. We just need that the liquidity pool to be a little bit more bolstered up in order to provide that. But yeah, a large part of the platform as well is that we want to be able to have it agent friendly. So that's why the Hey Anon integration. But also we're developing things like an SDK, an MCP server, so that agents can trade on the platform. I mean, ideally, in the future, there's agents that are the primary user of AMPED, and they're able to earn a yield or trade with leverage themselves.
Yeah, I mean, that's a great idea. I mean, I'm assuming so. Like with the Hey Anon integration, I guess the idea is that like people could just come in and say, "Hey, open a long on S," like just make a position right out of the platform.
Exactly. Yeah. So just speaking to it like an LLM, we've got a number of functions that we're providing, so people can like earn yield, but also trade either with leverage or swap assets. Excited to go live with that.
Yeah, that's huge, man. Anything that makes it that much easier to just get in and get out and everything. But the platform itself, I mean, it's really light. It's easy to use. I think that's helpful. Sometimes you go to these platforms and it's just like, I don't know. There's a lot to be said just of like clean, easy to understand UI. Like some of these sites you go and it's just like, lasers in your eyes, it's like there's just things everywhere and, menus and toggles and, so it's like, I kind of like this like simplicity of just like get right in there,
I appreciate that. Yeah, I mean, we've kept user experience sort of front of mind when developing the front end, and hence also the agent capability, like just being able to say, look, I'm bullish on S. I'd like to open a 10x long. It should be that easy. I mean, if we're going to onboard newcomers to using perps and using crypto, it needs to be straightforward and able to comprehend at a glance.
I like it, man. Yeah, no, that's huge. And when are you guys planning your TG, and how are you like planning to execute it and everything?
So we've got a few different plans in mind. We're speaking with a couple of launch pads that are Sonic native. The Metropolis guys have been really great. I met Hank in Vienna, and we got talking about their fair launch mechanism. It sounds like a really neat way to launch a token. And the Atlantis crew as well, I've been speaking with too. They've got a really great looking platform and a lot of excitement and interest at the moment. So it looks like a good avenue as well to explore. We're working closely with the Dora Hacks team as well, who are helping with our growth and finding investors for us too. So we're sort of going through, I mean, what's happening in the market today has thrown a bit of a spanner in the works. I think we were looking at towards the end of the month to launch. That, I mean, it could still go to that plan, but we'll see what happens over the coming weeks. You don't want to launch into a bad market condition.
No, and I mean, timing matters. It's like I've talked to so many projects where they're asking about how to structure their launch or whatever, and it is like my opinion that you can have everything right and timing can still be an enemy. So yeah, I think it's definitely like a much better, for the project, for the health of the project, everything. It's like, it's always better to like try to time this, maybe not around like a major world crumbling, world economy crumbling event. So yeah, don't blame me there for holding off a little bit.
Yeah, ideally not. Yeah, we'll wait for better conditions. I mean, the protocol's, earning revenue at the moment already. Like, there's no real pressing need to raise and launch the token, but we do want to sort of have, ourselves sort of embedded within the ecosystem, have the token out there among, Sonic community. So yeah, we're looking forward to that stage, but yeah, we'll do it when the time feels right.
Nice.
Yeah, that's nice. You guys are already revenue generating, so the token is kind of like I don't know. Yeah, I always get anxious when people are launching tokens where it's like obviously just like we need money kind of thing. So integrating further into the ecosystem makes a lot of sense too. With a token, it allows like another tool.
Yeah, and yeah, I mean, like that's in terms of like the basket, like does that like allow you guys to also like in the future continue that, like keep adding assets if you want to?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, when we first deployed, the basket was with Sonic, USDC, and actually I had the Euro token in there as well. I've removed that since because there wasn't much interest in using that. But yeah, I've added Anon was the first one that I added, and then Shadow, SCUSD, Staked Beats Sonic as well. So that basket can grow. Something actually that I'll mention that we developed and released just in the last day or two was a yield-bearing version of the liquidity pool token called YALP. So the original token is called ALP, and we've just launched YALP, which is a vault version of the token. So instead of being locked into a non-transferable liquidity pool token, this is an ERC20 that has the rewards auto compounded into it. So instead of having to go and claim your rewards and then restake them, the stake continues to build within this YALP token. So that also makes it composable and usable within the rest of the Sonic ecosystem too. So it's a nice basket for exposure to Sonic in general. And then if we, paired it in LPs on other DEXs within the Sonic ecosystem as well, that's a further, layer of rewards that people could be receiving too.
Yeah, I love that. The idea of, turning it into like a yield bearing token, because that really like, opens up the doors for a lot of like extra DeFi stuff on top. And then I mean, it's interesting because I guess in a way, it's almost like an index or something. It's pretty interesting. So yeah, that's very cool. That's definitely like pretty unique. That would, I don't know. I'm gonna have to play. I'm gonna have to play around with that because yeah, I think that's a really interesting idea to do with like that basket instead of just having to sit there.
Dude. My wheels are turning now. Once you explain the yield bearing asset part of it, now the wheels are turning in my mind now, and I'm seeing the opportunities here. And I hope you guys are seeing them at home too, because, well, actually, I hope they're not, because 253% APR, dude.
Yeah, don't dilute us. We're about to get in there. So.
Yeah.
But well, cool, man. We really appreciate you hopping on. I know it's pretty late where you're at. It's the morning here, but yeah, we really appreciate you taking the time and staying up late to hop on here. And yeah, is there anything else you'd like to add before we say?
Not especially. It's been great to be on. Thanks for having me on. And yeah, I'm around on Telegram and Twitter if anybody wants to reach out, has any questions. Jump into the Discord as well. I will mention we're running a big campaign on Galaxy at the moment. So if people are interested in exploring the platform, there's some quests there that people can complete, and we've got a bit of a giveaway that we're doing at the end of that campaign as well. We'll soon be launching an incentivized program as well with Metronome, which will like basically a points program for the AMP airdrop, and all retrospective activity will be recognized. So those that have been LPing, or if you choose to LP now, it'll all be contributing towards the future AMP airdrop.
Awesome, man. Yeah, sounds great. Well, yeah, everyone be sure to check out amped.finance if you trade perps, or even if you don't trade perps. It looks like there's like some really good just general yield stuff, and of course on Sonic, everybody loves that. So yeah, Dan, thanks so much, and let's definitely have you back on here when you guys are closer to TGE and all that stuff. And yeah.
That'd be awesome. All right, thanks guys. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, man. See you next time.
See ya.
Yeah, pretty cool stuff here. Amped Finance. I'm amped, dude.
Dude, they're gonna have to pay you for that.
I need something, dude. I need to feel something to see the numbers going up here. So I think 254 APY might be the thing to kind of make me feel a little bit better, dude, about my position.
Well, I was gonna say,
yeah, you're welcome. Yeah, you're welcome, everybody, for this. You know how hard it was to get Brian Armstrong's home address and then his phone number?
Yeah, really? We totally made this thing happen. And then, they go, like I said, they deviate from the plan. But no, seriously, unless you're under a rock, I'm sure you heard this yesterday, that S is officially added to the Coinbase asset roadmap.
So this means it's good. They're going to add it at some point, right? It's not just like these are the ones we're thinking about adding. It's like we're going to add these.
Yeah, it's there's like a little there's a little process to the whole thing. But anybody that gets listed on Coinbase goes through this. It seems like it's pretty rare that they go through this process and the token doesn't get listed. They just have a process for the rollout. They add you on like this part, they add you on this thing, they add you to like the advanced trading. So there's kind of like a whole series of events before it's just full blown. Oh, I can open my Coinbase app. But yeah, I mean, this is it. You know what I mean? It's happening.
Mm-hmm. It's happening, guys. It's finally happening. It's not as big of a deal now as it used to be maybe like 4 years ago, but that was because Coinbase was one of two options. But it's still a huge deal because, as Follow Zone points out, sending USDC to Sonic would be nice, and vice versa. Because as an American, I have to use Coinbase. So I mean, it is actually kind of huge still.
Yeah, and I mean, Assistant had a post last night, but something he pointed out that people should take into account, that it is actually for Sonic to be put on Coinbase is a big deal, because they have to add all the rails. They have to put all those rails for like people to like use the Sonic network when they're buying S and sending it, or like ultimately hopefully USDC and they're sending it. So
Also,
this isn't, it's a lot bigger of a process than like just adding another ERC20 or a Solana token or whatever. So I mean, it's a big get.
it makes me I'm getting real excited. I got so excited I was trying to cut you off there to say this, dude. Is it's going to make it a lot easier to onboard these old heads. You know how many old heads I know who only trade through Coinbase because it's like an app they can download and they're comfortable with it? It's going to be huge, dude.
Yeah, no, it's true. And I have people ask me all the time, kind of people that are outliers that are, they have some Bitcoin and some Ethereum, and they ask me about Sonic. And I mean, that is true. I mean, it's like literally without even like going into like anything, they're just like, can I buy it on Coinbase?
Yeah.
So, I mean, some of these people are like, if they're on like level 2, they're on like Kraken or something. But for the most part, it's exactly what you said. It's like, they go, can I get it on Coinbase? And you go, well, no, but you can do, and then their eyes glaze over, and, because they don't have like a MetaMask or a Ravi.
Start explaining a computer science project to them and their eyes glaze over. Yeah. Where I'm like, you got to download this app, then you got to configure it, and then you got to go to this place, and then you got to have another account. It's so annoying, dude. So finally we're here with Phantom, and this, we're getting places, dude, in terms of onboarding. And that's what I want to see.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and
let's practice our pitch, guys. Let's all practice our pitch to the old heads. We're going to say, you got to buy Sonic on Coinbase. Look at the chart. That's a buying opportunity.
Yeah. No, you know what I say? I go, you like Ethereum? Well, this is like Ethereum 2.
Yeah,
this
dude.
is like Ethereum part 2, bro. You got to buy it. And imagine you can get an S for 30 cents. One day that might be $3,000 like Ethereum, and just like, and then I say, you write me the check and I'll deposit it for you and get the coins for you. And then, it's a done deal.
And that's awesome, dude. What's your percentage? 95%?
Yeah, it's usually 95, 96%. So,
Well, I mean, you're doing all the work for them. No, but that is the good classic sales here, is the one where it's, Bitcoin's the Model T. Ethereum is a Firebird or something. And Sonic, that's a Tesla, dude.
That's right.
But I really do also like the unit one too, the unit bias one, where it's like, Bitcoin could go from 100,000 to 1 million, and what, I've only about $1,000 worth if I've only got 10,000 now. Who cares?
Yeah, and I mean, obviously Coinbase is like one of the biggest, when Coinbase. Mm-hmm. But Labs in general, was making, I mean, this was all yesterday. It was like yesterday they were making all these big moves. Mm-hmm. It started with a post from Sam Harcourt saying that after some discussion, we are looking into Labs investing funds into ecosystem projects. And there was that post, and then almost immediately after came this post that Labs had invested 400,000 S into Hey Anon through a Sonic Innovator Fund. So the idea with the fund is just to invest in new primitives and projects across the eco. I thought this, this was another big bomb, just because besides Coinbase, I think that is something that comes up a lot, is, hey, Avalanche is always buying, investing in eco projects, and this chain's investing in eco projects. And it's just like, I think it makes sense to invest in your eco when you're a foundation. But also it's just like, it's a show of confidence. And I think that it's, it helps people see that, like, okay, like we're, invested, we're backing this. Obviously, Hey Anon, if there was going to be a first project, I think it should be Hey Anon. They basically launched with Sonic. Even though, you know, there's arguments as to whether they're Sonic native or not, since they're on other chains, but obviously it all started there on Sonic. You know, Danny's put a lot into the eco. So yeah, I think that obviously there's more to come, but I thought it was pretty exciting.
Yeah, I think makes sense to choose Hey Anon. WAGMI was, I think, the first thing on the network, right? Like literally the very first thing on the network. First USDC was transferred through WAGMI or some shit.
Yeah, like if you remember, we had Danny on when there was the controversy that somebody had like, you know, figured out how to like get a little tiny bit of S and a little bit of, you know, stable, and it was enough for them to like deploy the WAGMI contracts, which is crazy. So yeah, Danny actually came on right after that because there was very like mixed feelings on if that should have happened or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's like obviously, you know, they've put a lot of faith in the Sonic, and you know, when Hey Anon launched, especially, I mean, I don't know if you remember that, you know, we had TVL going crazy, numbers going up. You know, it was a lot of hype for the eco.
Yeah. And I think you're right in that it's a vote of confidence for these kinds of strategic type investments, like picking projects and deploying into them. Because I think a big part of crypto, really finance in general, is it's all confidence games, isn't it?
Hold on. Hold on. Wait. All right.
That's just Southern racism, dude. There's no racist Southerner, dude.
Do I sound like Theo Vaughn? I don't know.
I'm gonna pull up a Theo Vaughn clip real quick here, and we'll do a side by side.
I mean, I'm from, yeah, we're both from the South, so maybe that's the problem.
Where is Theo Vaughn from? Is he from like?
He's from like Louisiana, I think.
Yeah. Let's see. Let's get a little video.
I said, he goes, yes. That's funny. I haven't heard that one before, but
so many baby videos of Theo Vaughn.
That's odd.
Yeah, it's weird. There's a bunch of AI baby videos. So.
Well, while you're looking at that, yeah, follows and says it would probably make sense that Shadow's next. Yeah, I mean, obviously, we don't have the inside track on what's coming next, but I mean, I think, you know, if you're looking at it from an angle of like projects that have, you know, bolstered the eco, Shadow's obviously right there. You know, big, obvious, you know, one of the biggest fee earners in all of DeFi, period. Not to mention, obviously, like the fee and volume leader on the chain. Yeah, now people are discussing if I do sound like Theo Vaughn. It says you don't have a big twang.
I got a clip pulled up for it. We'll see. We'll do a little side by side here. But I did want to before we do that, I want to round up this conversation here on this because I have a kind of a interesting question I'm interested in is that because finance and crypto specifically are like such like a heavy like trust thing, right? Like, and crypto has such a low trust, right? In that 90% of the things that you see, if you go on like CoinGecko and you just look at like what exists, 95% of it is like a scam.
Yeah.
So like having a network which can't really afford that kind of like quick rug type shit that a token does, invest in your token is a huge vote of confidence in saying that like this is a legitimate project, right? Because talk is a little bit cheap, right? And if this is a financial stuff, you got to put your money where your mouth is, right? So I support this. I think it's cool. I do agree Shadow's probably next. I'm excited to see what other things there might be next. And I also want to point out, you know, this is not to say that the support that Sonic was providing already wasn't useful or good, because they did provide a lot of support to oncoming projects and continue to do so. But now for what you guys really want to see. Okay. This is a Facebook video.
I took a girl on like a carriage tour or whatever, and it was a black girl that I was dating at the time, and a lot of it's kind of, it gets a little, you know, some of the history around there is,
oh yeah, they got some history around.
It's some risque history. So like at a certain point, I'm like trying to tip the driver early, like, dude, just
can we change this to a ghost tour maybe?
Yeah. I think it's one of the 5 most unique cities in
the history of Charleston, South Carolina. Now, Dracula, let's hear you say
America.
Totally.
I think. And I took a girl on like a carriage tour or whatever.
Say, I took a girl on a carriage tour or whatever.
I took a girl on a carriage tour or whatever.
Yeah, I can kind of see a little bit there, dude. You're a little too raspy for it, I think. Fall Zone Charleston? Uh-oh. We gotta
Yeah.
get Charleston. We gotta get Fall Zone on the stream. I want to hear if he's got that accent, dude. That Charleston people have, you know the one?
Oh yeah. Yeah, it's a little different than like that's the thing about the South is if you're not from like the southern US, everything kind of sounds the same. It's just like anywhere else. Like everything kind of sounds the same if you're not from the South. But if you are in the South, there is like 10 variations of a Southern accent. There's
there's a bunch of them. People in Charleston, though, I think have like the most obviously different one because they sound like nobility or something.
They're the people that say like they're like lot butter. It's like they can't just be like everything's got a
They'll be like, I got the vapors.
I got the vapors.
Yeah, they're funny, dude. They're what you think of when I think of like a Southern gentleman, like I'm just a simple country lawyer type. That's like a Charleston guy.
Is that like the chicken lawyer from Futurama?
Yeah, chicken lawyer. Yeah, from Futurama. He's from Charleston.
But there was like something else big yesterday. Like I said, it's crazy. We had all this stuff happen yesterday, and
dude, it's like Lennon said. Okay, there's hours where nothing happens, then minutes where everything happens, and that's what happened in crypto yesterday. Because this is the other thing we had that was okay. Stop sharing screen. This one, Sonic Strategy announced their first institutional grade validator on Sonic Labs. So that's 500,000 S stake there, which is pretty good, I think. Bullish. Drac, what do you think? We had Sonic Strategy on, dude.
Yeah, and Mitch from Sonic Strategy, man, like really sharp guy. This was actually a really big announcement.
Dude, he was probably licking his lips, dude. He was like, "Oh, another entry, dude."
Yeah, like honestly, like this, they're actually like a pretty, big thing in Canada, especially. I had like, they had like headlines from like, Yahoo Finance and like some other stuff with this announcement yesterday. So yeah, I mean, like I said, it was like all this like crazy stuff happened yesterday. I can't remember what their first big purchase was. I want to say it was 3 million tokens or 6 million tokens. But yeah, I know that they've opened this validator, and I think they plan on opening like several. So it's it's cool that they're really like putting their money where their mouth is, and yeah, I mean, I guess they're gonna validate the net on the network. I think there's more, more acquiring coming. It's like you said, they might be licking their chops right now. I don't know.
Oh yeah, dude. When I was talking to him the other day before the show, I was like, "What do you think about this price level?" He's like, "A lot of people are pretty upset about it, but I mean, I believe in the long-term vision. I mean, he's building a company around the network, so you got to have that long-term vision on it, right? So, makes sense. Easy buy, I would say, if from the institutional perspective, when they have almost unlimited dry powder to throw at it. But yeah, look, I pulled up the Yahoo announcements. They got a bunch. They're getting Yahoo coverage like crazy. Sonic Strategy.
Yeah, I'm taking a look at it here. But yeah, I mean, it's crazy. Like I said, all this stuff happened yesterday. Unfortunately, maybe got overshadowed a little bit. So hopefully, if you hadn't heard any of this news, now you know.
Yeah, hopefully we're look. I woke up this morning furious. I was jawing my girlfriend's ear off about about this war coming up and what it meant for my portfolio. But we can't forget that this stuff is still happening, right? Good news is still happening. So like while we're still subject to the macro trends, we can still kind of work against them, right? If we keep the momentum going. And who knows, the winds might shift anyway, right? We have like another thing where the assistant chat with Danny, but like we've already chatted with Danny, dude. We chatted with Danny a week ago.
Yeah.
I've been chatting with Danny nonstop. But I guess what it was just there was a lot of negativity on the timeline for a good while. And I think it was really starting to get to people, dude.
Yeah. I've said it before that, there is kind of like a special, I don't really think you can say it's just Sonic. I think it's especially alt L1s in general. I think that people take price action harder. Things are way more volatile than if you're just like an Ethereum holder or, you know, Solana holder or whatever. Because other communities other chains that I dabble in, honestly, you kind of see this everywhere. But yeah, there had been, when price is bad, that negativity sometimes can spiral. And that was kind of like what we were seeing happen, was just like, you know, markets down, everything, you know, price is bad, whatever you want to say. And then it's like everyone just kind of starts attacking each other, turning on each other. I'm looking to see if there's like the little screenshot of Danny, which is basically like just him telling somebody like, stop, you know, fudding your own bag, basically.
Your own bag. It's an interesting thing that I want to caution people against, is fudding your own bags. You might think I was fudding my own bag here, but I was just having a little fun. I'm perpetually bullish on S. I have to be. I have so much of it. I have no control over it. Yeah, but Mindshare is not good. I'll say this. I don't know how to say this. I know this is a Brazilian name, and it's killing me that I can't say it. It's like Joao. I can't say it. I don't know. I just embarrassed myself to him. I can't go to Brazil now. But no, yeah, the Mindshare was bad. And one thing I want to say is we don't want Mindshare to grow in a negative way, dude. So we don't want, you know, all your Kaido yaps getting all these points for you saying like, I'm going to shoot Andre Cronje or whatever.
Yeah. I mean, you know, there's some weird, you know,
Portuguese, whatever, dude.
Yeah, there are people out there that are taking it a little far. And it's, at the end of the day, it's like, you need to just be like somewhat balanced, you know, and maybe I don't want anyone to take that the wrong way. I'm not saying like don't hold S or something, but I'm saying like, you know, like I said, all L1s in general, not just Sonic, not just limited to Sonic, are just way more volatile. Now, it goes both ways though, right? I mean, when these alt L1s pump, nothing pumps like them. You know what I mean? So
what's the term? Reflexivity. The reflexivity of these assets is psychotic. I think I'm using a word that I'm not really probably smart enough to use. I got to read the George Soros book where he invented it. But basically, the idea is like an asset responding to the sentiment of that asset is like reflexive, so it becomes like more so, right? So like the idea being like people start looking down on a particular asset. So when it dumps, it starts dumping harder and harder and harder, more so than even the fundamentals would say it should, right? So like a company losing a lot of reputation, even though it has a shitload of cash flow and is making a lot of money, it dumps like crazy.
Yeah, I mean, Tesla's a good example of that. I mean, you know, when there's bad sentiment around Tesla, it's like it really makes no sense for it to, you know, dump like it's a shit coin, but it's happened before. You know what I mean? Like,
and it makes sense for that asset because it's also so heavily tied to like a person's reputation, which is probably one of the most reflexive things in the world, right? Like,
yeah, exactly. I mean, so that's what I'm saying though, is that, you know, for people that get kind of down about it, it's like you're not alone. It's not just limited to Sonic. It's a phenomena that happens pretty much everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
And just take it with a grain of salt, because it's so, you know how often somebody is upset about price or whatever, and I'll literally be like, the entire market is red today. Like, what are you talking about? You know what I mean? So you got to zoom out, look at the big picture. You know, try to maybe not just be like, try to not have your only holding be like a super volatile L1 gas token.
Yeah.
You know?
Which might be haram for us to say, but yeah, diversify a little bit, get some perspective. Buy some oil futures or something. I don't know. Dabble a little bit.
If you had oil or gold yesterday, you were like sitting pretty. So, you know.
Oh, yeah. But we got a couple more. Speaking of like expanding your perspective, we got a little bit more like bullish news for crypto just in general. So we've got this courtesy of Lewis. Shopify will enable USDC stablecoins on Base and checkout via Shopify payments and Shop Pay. Pretty big. You can use USDC in Shopify now. I'm actually setting up a Shopify site today. So it's huge.
Yeah, I mean that's a big. I mean, obviously, it's like Shopify is like the largest. I can't remember the stat on it, but it's basically like, yeah, I mean, it's one of the largest like payment networks in general out there. I mean, it's just like, this is a large get. This isn't like one of the B list, e-commerce companies or something. This is like what you are trying to land. It doesn't.
Yeah, no, for sure. Like this is the kind of partnership that is like, this is the kind of partnership that actually matters. It's not like, what was it, like Polygon partnering with Starbucks for NFTs? No one cares about that. Who cares?
Yeah.
Partner with Starbucks and they take Sonic as payment for a coffee. That's pretty big.
Yeah.
But so yeah, I'm stoked about this. And then we also have Stripe acquires wallet provider Privy for $200 million. I don't really know what Privy is, but
yeah. So Privy, I'm kind of surprised something like this didn't happen sooner. Maybe they were holding out, but if you're not familiar, Privy, if you ever go to a site, like a crypto site that allows you to like log in with your X or your email, it's probably Privy. They are like who developed, that system to, it's like a really easy kit for developers, kind of like how you can use, like a Rabby kit or a general wallet kit for developers. It's just like a really easy thing to implement. And yeah, it allows people to use their socials for a login. It automatically creates a wallet for that account, all that stuff.
Mhm.
So yeah, in my opinion, I always thought that the Privy thing was a pretty large breakthrough in terms of getting us to that place that we always talk about, right? Where that place where a normal person can easily, with like not a ton of friction, do something with crypto, right?
Yeah.
So Privy kind of creates that, it just makes it really easy. Like if you have an X account and you're like, oh, I want to check this thing out, or, I want a wallet or whatever, it's like, boom, it just does it for you. So yeah.
Yeah, I think okay. I'm familiar with this now. So they make the wallet for you, right? So it's like the simplest Web 2 integration possible, where it's like you just sign in and then it makes a wallet for you.
Yeah, like it's totally frictionless, where it's like if you're going to a site for the first time and you log in with your X, it automatically has created a wallet that's now attached to that account. And you're just boom, you're running. So
Well, hell yeah, dude. So pretty big that Stripe's acquired that. A huge payment provider as well. Look, we're starting to see these integrations start coming in even more intensely now. Yeah, and exactly like Fallout Zone says, the Coinbase One card earned 4% back on every purchase. This card has like a crazy fee on it, doesn't it? It has like a minimum.
Well, all the Amex cards have, usually like the higher level Amex cards all have like yearly fees. And if you scroll down, you might be able to see it. There was someone like immediately in the comments, like, actually you got to pay like, $500 a year or something. But, to earn 4% in Bitcoin off your purchases, it's not going to be worth your time anyway, unless you're planning on using the card a lot. So, I will still take it. I mean, if basically it's an Amex that you can use anywhere, and you earn Bitcoin off it, I think that's pretty, and it's not like a 1 or 2%, I mean, 4% is decent
on the first $200 spent per month. Anything extra, and it's 1%. So it's kind of.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, this isn't made for the guys that got $100 in Bitcoin in their wallet. You're gonna have to. You have to move.
And we'll give more rewards.
You're gonna have to spend some money on it. But if you,
Brian, you naughty boy, what is he doing, dude?
I still think, I still think it's, a step. It's an interesting step. I mean, what it's all about is easier adoption, more things adopting crypto, easier for people to get access to crypto. This is what we need in this zone of ETFs, black holing assets, and people not taking that money out and putting it on chain. We need everything we can get.
Yeah. we never think we can get. This is the closest we're going to get to a Bitcoin airdrop for rich guys, I suppose. I guess not even really, because you got to have the assets on Coinbase to even. So this is more just like crypto guys. But hey, it's something. When they pull out this wallet, okay, well, it's gonna be like American Psycho, dude. When you pull up this card, okay, when you're at Dormu or whatever restaurant, and
Orsia.
Orsia, and you've got like, everyone's putting their cards in the hat because you're doing the draw to see who's gonna pay for the whole bill, and you see this one, guys are gonna start asking questions. And then you're gonna be saying, "Okay, well, let me onboard you real quick."
Yeah, they had like a little reveal of like what it looks like when you get the card and everything. And yeah, it's one of those like nice like metal cards. It's like weighs a pound. So
well, it's also like inscribed with like all this stuff. It looks crazy.
Yeah, they put like the Genesis block on there, which that's corny, but
it's corny, but we love it, dude.
Yeah, they like inscribe the Genesis block. I'm sure you can get something else inscribed on there.
Yeah. No, you only have the one option. He had the video, didn't he?
There it is. Yeah.
Wow. It's worth it just for this experience alone, just like buying an Apple product, the unboxing procedure.
Yeah.
But moving on, a little bit more negative news here, but we got to talk about it here. We're coming up on the end, but I mean, Bitcoin slides to 103 as Israel launches airstrikes on it. This is the whole reason why we're not all filthy stinking rich right now. It's all Israel and Iran's fault. Sorry, I had to say it.
Yeah,
I don't know if it's or something, but it's all their fault. Okay, going to war.
Yeah, and I mean, I would like to, I don't know. Maybe this gets resolved fast. I don't know. Maybe I'm being naive though. We don't know. I guess we don't know what's going to happen, but there's already been like a good bit of pushback in terms of just some of like the military operations. Mm-hmm. There's already countries kind of sanctioning Israel. There's all kinds of stuff going on with that. I think that a lot of this is moving fast in hopes that it can get de-escalated quickly. But yeah, I mean, I think that as usual, don't love this kind of stuff happening going into the weekend where things are additionally extra volatile. But hopefully by Monday we got a little bit of clarity,
Yeah. I'd love to, get some clarity and be able to make a little bit of money for once. But yeah, it's kind of crazy. Hopefully this does get resolved soon. It seems like it's kind of like a pressure. I don't know. It's hard to say. It's like a pressure tactic. I don't know if you guys know anything about the strikes, but they're pretty crazy. They killed apparently the entire top leadership of Iran's military is what they're claiming. So I don't know. Is that bullish? I don't know.
Yeah, I guess, like I said, I think it's going to take a few days at least to kind of like unwind and see like what we're getting into here. On that note, we will see you guys next week on Tuesday.
We'll see you then, and be sure to sign up for the newsletter if you haven't already.
Yeah, last plug there. I forgot. Yeah, check our X or YouTube or whatever. Get in the Telegram. Sign up for the Sonic Snacks. Those are coming out every week. Thanks to Lewis, and yeah, more to come. So we thank you.
Catch you guys now next week.
GMSONIC is Corval and Dracula Presley. GM.